Hey everybody, Mr. Bush here. So what I've got here is just a simple project that's going to help you get started with animating in Scratch and using the broadcast block to make animations happen for the upcoming project that we're going to be doing. So what I've got here are just a simple project with my initials. You're going to be doing this too. So my initials are FB. What I've got here, when I click the flag, they disappear. And then when I click this button down here, they glide from a random spot onto the stage and into a predetermined spot. Here's how we do this. First, I'm just going to go ahead and make a new project. Say goodbye to Scratchy. And then I'm just going to grab the three letters that I'm using. All right, so they're in random spots on the page, and I'm just going to go ahead and just stick them close to where I want them to be. So every good Scratch project starts out with the green flag. And what I like to think of the green flag is kind of like the power button that gets everything set up. So in this project, when I click the green flag, I want all of my sprites to hide. So I want them to be gone. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag this code to the other two sprites. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the button, stick it down in the bottom. For the button, when the event that I want to use is when this sprite is clicked. And then when it's clicked, what I want it to do is to tell the R, the first letter, to go ahead and do its thing. So I'm going to go ahead and say, number 1, it's your turn. And then for the R, when it receives message 1, I want it to go ahead and show up. And then because I know this is going to happen right now, because I've done lots of Scratch projects, I know that if I actually continue with the F and the B to do this same code, what's going to happen, it's going to go super fast. And it's not going to be exactly what I want it to. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the wait block, and that's good enough. Next, I'm going to have it broadcast a message to the second letter for it to go ahead and do its thing. And then for that second letter, the F, when it receives that code, when it receives message 2, it's going to go ahead and do its thing. Oops. Show up. Wait 1 second. And then for the final letter, it's going to tell it to show up. And that's all we need. And it works. So what you can do now is you can add different animations. So under the animations, we've got a couple of different things that are really great for this project. We've got a couple which are set color effect and change color effect by. This one will work really good in your under your flag, so you can set the effect to what you want it to. And then this one is going to work really well in a loop. So I would put that loop, and then I would also put a wait block inside that loop. So set color effect to and then change color effect by are really great. Experiment with them and have some fun. But the other thing I want to point out is that there are lots of different animations that you can use. Experiment and try with them. They're actually really fun. My favorite is the ghost effect. So if what you can do is you can take that ghost effect, and if you set it to 100, it's the same as hiding a sprite. And then what you can do is you can decrease that effect. So you're going to use a negative number. So if I did negative by negative 25 and I did that 4 times negative 25 is negative 100. So that'll take it down to 0. And then I'm going to go ahead and just make that weight block move really fast. So what you can do is you can go ahead and stick these in your code. So you can go ahead and stick those in your code and have them work. Experiment with set ghost effect, change color effect, and any of these effects to make them work. One other thing that I want to point out is if you're going to use these blocks, clear graphics effects is also a really good block to pay attention to. You can also use a motion block. There's a couple of different things you could do. You could make a letter spin by using the turn 15 degrees. I would recommend using that in conjunction with the point in direction 90 block. So you can make it spin, if you make it spin 45 degrees, then you repeat that 8 times with a weight block. That should make it all the way around. When you're doing this, you also may want to take out the weight block that makes it wait for a second. Oops, not quite. You're gonna have to debug it. Last but not least, you can also use a couple of different other motion blocks like the glide block. That's going to require knowing where sprites are on the page. It's not going to require too much. You may want to notice that when you change the position of a block, it changes the X coordinate and the Y coordinate. If you go under backdrops, you can actually add a backdrop. It's at the bottom, and that'll show you exactly where the X and Y axis are. You can hide it later if you don't really want to use it. But what I would do is I would put the block where you want it to land and then make that be the glide block. I would recommend changing this to less than a second. And then you've got a couple of different options. One, you could define where the block comes in from. So if you say you want it to be 240, which is all the way over on the edge, and then we'll leave the Y coordinate the same. It'll start over there, and then glide there, and glide to where you want it to be. Oops. Debugging is always really important. It's important to know that your code is going to work in order. So what the B did there is that it got the message, it glided there, and then it showed up. It's not exactly what I was hoping for. That's what I was looking for. So these are some different things that you can experiment with. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Helpful when you're doing a project like this is to actually develop a plan before you start to animate. Google Jamboard is a really great place for that. What I've already got is my R and the F. I'll go ahead and show you how I make these letters. And now this doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but what you can do, you can just go ahead and just make a simple sketch and then draw on this using your Chromebook and stylus. So you can just make a quick plan on how you want your letters to animate. So if I wanted this this R to go ahead and drop in from the bottom, and then my F, I wanted it to spin, and then I wanted to do like a ghost effect. I could just write ghost. Or you could write something like fade in. Now yours is going to be better because you guys actually have one of those fancy styluses. But that's all you really need to do. Just go ahead and just annotate it real quick. And that's all you really need to do. Just make a simple plan. And then that will help you make your drawing a heck of a lot better. See the way that these projects turned out. So this is what you're going to do. First, I want to see your Jamboard. Just a simple 1, 2, 3 will work for that part of the project. Just I want to see your Scratch project run. See the way that it worked. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go ahead and log into WeVideo. I've already done that. After that, you're going to see the recording button. You're going to make a screen recording of your Jamboard, of your project running, and then you're going to turn in the link to that screen recording after you publish it. This is what you're going to do. First, click recording. Then I would select screen. You don't necessarily need to put up your webcam on that one. Click next. You're going to choose the microphone. Click next. And then you're going to pick application window. Choose the one that says WeVideo. Get ready. This is my project. First, I'm going to have the R drop in. Next, I'm going to have the F spin. It's going to spin 45 degrees times 8. And then last but not least, the B is going to fade in. Then once you're finished with that, go ahead and go to your Scratch project and show me the code that you did to make that happen. And then run your project. All right. Last but not least, click stop sharing down at the bottom. You can't see that button on mine. And there really isn't much that you need to do. That's really enough for me. Click save. It shouldn't be more than a minute. If yours is over a minute, you really need to go back and fix that. Once this finishes down there, you can play it. You can add a little bit more, but like I said, I really don't want to see anything more than a minute. Click finish. Give it a title. Click set. And then you're going to export. Standard definition is good enough. Click export. And then wait for this to finish. Once that's done, what you're going to do is go ahead and click that link. And then that link is what you're going to turn in to Canvas. All right, can't wait to see what you make.